Right then. Hopefully, I got it working this time. At least I really hope I did. So we'll find out imminently. So just really quick, before I do anything else, I'm gonna check this is working, because I've been having all sorts of issues getting this working. There we go. That looks like it's a-okay. Right. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive right in. I might just throw this on Twitter actually. I've not actually done that in a while. So let's just get this done. Just one moment. Right then, I think that'll do. Aye. Right, alright, cool. Alright, I'm gonna stop doing all that stuff now and actually get my butt up and start doing stuff. So this is some data that I recorded in Rokoko Studio actually a couple of weeks ago now that I actually need to, well, yeah, sort out. So this is it here. I am just kind of fading it down a little bit just so it's not in the way as much, but the actual data is just a simple idle holding a rifle. As you can see here, it's actually a rifle stock that I basically took from an old BB gun. So it's just kind of standing there, just chilling out and not really doing very much. I really hope this stream holds up because for some reason my ISP is not enjoying it. Oh well. Anyway, so this is the data. It's very straightforward. Just kind of just chilling, and we do a little bit of you know, kind of stand there and we kind of fidget, like just kind of twisting the ankles kind of thing. A little bit of a neck crack, which is actually because I had a little bit of a stiff neck at the time. Yeah, and just kind of just standing there, just chilling. So yeah, this is what we're going to clean up. So a couple of little things I want to share with this is when I shot it, I actually had a marker on the floor, which is where essentially it gave me a datum point that I could return to, and we'll get into why I did that later, but that's the only thing that's on here that you can't really see. The rest is just kind of as big an open space as I can get. So I did this in my living room with my webcam mounted on my TV to get some video reference, and yeah, that's kind of it. So, big open space, as big as I could get, like I said, and just away from any metal and things like that as well. The only metal nearby was just the lithium batteries that I had in the back pocket. But yeah, so we're just going to go through and actually start to clean this up. So if you have any questions or any comments during the entire thing, please let me know, post them in here, or if you're watching it back later, feel free to add a comment, and yeah, I'll do my best to answer it. So here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is, when I record these, I actually record them in treadmill mode, and the reason I do that is so that I can basically come in this with a clean slate, because when I'm selecting data, I'm not interested in this as much. I'm more interested in what I'm doing in the reference footage, which is why I record it. It's a little bit easier because then I can literally just grab the MP4 this spits out and throw it into my video editor. Anyway, let's hit the locomotion tab and hit process changes, and this is going to apply the locomotion filters so we can actually move around. Another thing I've found as well is that sometimes it's actually give cleaner data straight out the gate than I get if I'm just doing it manually, if I'm doing it while recording live, sometimes. Anyway, I'm actually going to just close the video reference for now because it'll get distracting, and I'm just going to go through. Actually, I'll keep the video reference up thinking about it. I'm just going to go through and just kind of start applying the foot filters. So essentially any time that there's very little body weight on either foot, I'm going to disconnect it from the floor, which will allow the data to just kind of move around a bit. So you can see here that I'm getting a bit of foot sliding when the foot's meant to be planted. So that's, to me, is a sign that the other foot, so the foot that's sliding, the other foot should be raised. And it's an error, so it'll be about there. And you can kind of see it here as well, that there's some data on the left foot which is green, that, or there's a key there saying it's planted that shouldn't really be there. So I'm just going to kind of take that off. And then as we plant it, it's fine. And then as we start to lift up and take our weight off, you can see kind of how the hips start to go above the foot and start to rest on the left foot. The right will start to raise. So I'm just going to kind of just shift that back a bit, probably to about there. Even though the foot is still planted, there's not much weight on it, so it's a bit more flexible for moving around. And then we got that thing again with the left foot sliding, about there. So I'm actually just going to delete these keys. Just make it nice and clean. And you can see here we kind of lift this left foot up, so I'm just going to kind of lift that up and process the changes and see what we're left with. Right. So we've got no foot slide in there, that's perfect. And then for most of it, we are kind of just stood in one position, so it is pretty straightforward to clean up. So you can see there that I kind of lift up, my foot's still on the floor there. So let's just have a look at this again. So I do actually lift the foot up in the data, that's why reference is quite good. Even though we can't see the feet, I can see what my body's doing. So probably about here, I'm actually going to take the right foot off the ground, about there, and then just going to clean that up, and hopefully that should look a bit better already. Yeah, you can see how I can lift up the foot now, which is pretty much what I did in the data. Oh, when I say data, by the way, I'm referring to the animation that was recorded, the animation data. So I do the same thing there when I'm kind of fidgeting. Just going to kind of fiddle around with that a little bit. There we go. Something like that. Nice. Cool. What I'm going to do as well, just while I'm here, I'm just going to move this to another screen just while I change some settings. Oh wait, can I do it? One moment. Yeah, I can. I was basically going to look for the settings to change the UI scale because I don't want to spoil some of my other projects I'm working on. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger just so it's easier to see on stream. There we are. That's better. It's a bit bigger than I normally have it, but it's fine. There we are. Okay, and to do that, you just go into here, settings, and then you can choose what's it called? UI scale. There we are. Just to make life a little bit easier. Some phantom keys there. So sometimes it'll do that. It will set some phantom keys. So that's why this cleanup process is important. You're not going to get perfect data out the gate ever. You don't even get that on really expensive systems. There's always some changes you want to make, just based on what the character you retarget it to, and things like that. So there's always some work to be done. Just like that, maybe. Ain't perfect, but that will probably be fine. And by the way, during this, it's not just going to end here. I'm going to basically show you my process where I'm going to put this onto my animation rig in Maya, and then we're going to get it into Unreal as well. So I've actually put together a little scene here. This is actually like based off a template I have for building characters and things like that. Just a nice little bit out of the way. So it's just a nice little lit enclosed hangar. And we are going to put this data onto a Stormtrooper. But I'm just going to switch that to... in fact, yeah, I'm going to minimize it just so it's not using up any of my GPU. Okay, I'm just going to clean up these feet here. So this is like the most important step to do in this, because if we really put the effort in this bit, everything else will fall into place and be really straightforward. So we're going to kind of do that. That bit is actually looking okay. I'm just going to hit process changes. So I'm just kind of going through the data and just kind of basically just checking that everything lines up with what it should be doing. So I think I'm gonna just take this key off and see how it looks, just because we're kind of placing the foot on the floor, but we're not putting any weight on it. So I'd like to keep it give it like full flexibility there to move around if we need to. Okay, and you can see here that it's, although we're not putting any weight on the right foot, this key is causing the left foot to slide. So I'm just going to delete this phantom key as well. Right, let's try this again. Cool. We are getting a bit of a knee pop, but that's fine. We can always sort that later. So if we play through this a little bit. Cool. And then the rest is all just kind of planted. I'm just scrubbing through because there's nothing we can really do about the upper body. It's just more about what the feet are doing in this tool. Move along. Move along. Okay, cool. And I'm quite impressed. We're not really getting much drift here as well, which is good. So I'm going to just delete this phantom key here. Right, okay. What you can see as well is that we have drifted a bit, not a lot, but a little bit, which is why I put, like I mentioned, that marker on the floor earlier. So I was going to turn this down a tad on my side. You can have a bit more of that. Okay, so that's why I mentioned the marker on the floor earlier, so that I can return to the same spot every single time. So that's where it comes in handy. So you can see here at the start, I start right on 0, but over time, I've drifted a bit. And I ended up off, even though I made sure that my feet were in the same place each time. So you see right at the start, I'm here. And then right at the start, I'm in exactly the same place. So I know we drifted. Or sorry, right at the end, I'm in exactly the same place. I know we drifted a bit. So what I'm going to do is turn on the drift fix filter. And then, under gizmos, I'm just going to grab the end position and shift it. And you can see on the floor, it marks out where the hit position is. So what I can do, because I know I'm standing still, I can just kind of shift it there in process. Pretty much in the same place. Right then, so we'll just play this through. So this is already looking pretty good. Everything's there, though we are getting some foot sliding on the floor, which we'll deal with. So next thing we're going to turn on is foot IK. And we'll hit process, and this will just apply straight away. But sometimes what you get, you can kind of see there's a bit of a snap here. And this could also be because I've not applied this properly. which looks like it might be the case. So I'm just going to look at this again. Yeah, I think what I'll have to do is just kind of shift this forward a little bit. So you can always go back into the previous phase and just apply stuff, which is really cool. Right, let's try this again. Okay. Cool. So you see how like the feet are kind of snapping to the floor a little bit? There's actually a setting we can change that might help with that. So if you go into the foot IK options, and then by default this blend transition all is applied, so untick that and set a pull down of like 0.01. Or it can even be lower potentially, 0.005, 0.005, or 0.01 just low as it'll go. Okay, and what that'll do will actually help with rather than the IK snapping on or off depending on when the foot plant keys are applied in the locomotion filter, it will actually blend it rather than snap it, so it gives a nice, you see how it gives a much nicer transition now. And what you can also, and what the pull down will do as well, it'll actually help with some knee popping issues. So you can see as well that we aren't really getting as many knee pops as we did before, or any really, because we just pulled it down ever so slightly. But it is global, so you can actually just change this, turn this off altogether, which is more often than not what you want. Especially if you've got a character just standing upright. Alright, so play through. So this is the only bit where we're really interested in this anyway. So there is a little bit of popping, so what we can do is apply the knee pop filter. A knee pop, by the way, is this here. So you see, like, if you imagine you're standing upright, it's when it kind of like, sometimes your knee almost like clicks into place. It's that, but it can be really jarring. Not saying you never have something fully extended, but on like an IK control or something like that, it can be really easy for this to happen. So we'll just kind of smooth that out by applying the knee pops filter and see if that helps. Not really. Right, what we'll do then, we'll just apply, we can either apply a very slight pull down now, or we can just fix it later, which I'm going to aim to just fix it later, because it's quite an easy thing to fix. Essentially, you just take in the, what will be the CRG control in your rig, which is the position of your hips, and just shifting it down slightly at that point, because through the rest of the thing, it's fine. There's no real issue there, and if I pull it down, as you can kind of see here, even by 0.01, it's going to start to bend the knees a bit, and I don't really want to do that when I don't have to. It just gives like, it's almost like, it makes the character look like they're squatting a little bit, which I don't want. So what I'll do is just set that back to 0 and process it, and I'm going to export it knowing that there is a knee pop at that time, which is fine. It's a pretty easy fix, and you can see here the finger tracking's working very nice, and because I'm actually holding a prop, I know that my hands when I'm touching the rifle are actually planting and moving as they should be, which is good. It's going to come in helpful later. It's going to be helpful later. So what I'm going to do now is just decide on which bit I'm going to export. So I'm going to go with probably this bit here, and then I'm just going to go right to the end, probably to about there. I'm going to get as much data out of it as I can. And I'm also going to set this to loopable and see how that looks. UI's just getting in the way there. And I'm also just going to essentially just start it from origin, just so it's always at 0. Okay. So you can see that. Okay, let's just try and get this a bit closer if we can. So the position of the hands is going to change, but that's not really a big deal. We can change it, we can fix that, no problem. I think what I'm going to do is actually just take it off of loopable for this one. Just thinking about it actually. Should I take it off loopable? Yeah, I'll take it off loopable for this one, just for simplicity for now. Not to say it's not loopable, but we can always loop it in Maya as well. Right, anyway, so that's the Rokoko side of it all done. So that's about as much as we're going to get out of this one. So now what I'm going to do is actually export this out and show you how I bind the animation to my custom rig. Okay, so I'm going to hit export. I don't like to live stream data because for what I do, I like to really clean up the data as much as I can. So I'm not actually going to be live streaming it. Right, FPS I'm just going to leave at 100 because that's fine for what I need. Export, I'm just going to export to the default location I've set up. And it's going to export in FBX out. Now, after this is going to be the interesting bit. So what we're going to do next is I'm actually going to what's called bind it to the animation rig that I use in Maya. And I'm going to line up some props, do some cool stuff, and I think I might quickly try and set up a live link as well so we can see our results in Unreal at the same time and show off some cool stuff with that. Radio. So what it's done now, it's exported out an FBX file, which I've got on my other screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little button. So all this is going to do is, like what the tooltip says, it's actually going to it's going to import my rigging. But what it's doing, it's actually a Maya file that it's importing in, and this file has my animation rig referenced into it, along with what's called a binder. So the binder is essentially a version of, it's essentially a copy of the skeleton that I export that is set up so that it will drive the animation rig, which is really cool. So if I rotate maybe not this one. You know what, we'll see it in a moment, it's pretty cool. So I've got this set up with two source skeletons. I've got one set up to use Mixamo, and I've got another one set up to use the Rokoko one. So I'm actually going to use the Rokoko one. I'm just going to enable a couple of plugins. So I've got Red 9, which is the plugin I use for this. It's a free plugin as well. And I'm going to go to Window, Animation Editors, Human IK. And this will also work with motion library assets, and you can set these up to use whatever skeleton you want, which is really cool. So, the way this is set up is my source skeleton actually has a human IK definition, and essentially the source skeleton is what is going to drive the rig. Sorry, 1 minute. One second. Right, shutting my door. Rightio. So yeah, so this skeleton here is actually going to drive my animation rig, and the way I use that is to actually retarget animation data onto it. So in the human IK definition, I'm going to select my source skeleton and change that source to Rokoko. So now my Rokoko skeleton is driving it, and I can delete the Mixamo one because I'm not interested in that. So what did I just go on about? Basically lets me do this. That's basically what it's doing. It's allowing me to retarget animations onto a custom rig really, really easily and really quickly. So we'll start from the T-pose, and then we'll end up something like this. So before right now the animation isn't actually on the rig yet. It's still running off of this Rokoko skeleton. But as you can see, what's really cool about using this method is I can scale the data up or down. I can move it up and down. And if I move it down, we can actually set up floor contacts in Maya, which is really cool. So to set up floor contact in Maya using Human IK, what you do is you select your character that you want the floor to actually contact with, go to the definition tab, and then go in here, click on this blue box, edit character definition, edit Human IK properties, and then it's going to give you all these lovely options. So a couple I change are match source, and the one we're interested in here is floor contact. So by default it's turned off, so if I move the source data down, we don't contact the floor. If I turn it back on and move the data down, oh, wrong one, move the data down, we contact the floor, which is cool. So that's going to give us foot plants pretty seamlessly, pretty instantly. I'm not going to go into how this all works. There's a whole masterclass video about that. But if you had any questions or do you want me to go into it in the future, I'm more than happy to do that. Just not really going to do it right now. But the gist of it is skeleton. Well, basically the skeleton uses some parent and orient constraints to drive the controls, and there's a script I'm about to run which will bake it down. And these yellow diamonds are offset controls, so I can actually offset the controls based on where they are in the rig. So if I want to modify globally where this pole is, I can do that. Likewise, I can do it with all the fingers, or I can do it with the IK controls as well. So last thing I'm going to do before I bake it down is I'm going to select my IK controls, and I'm just going to turn off this follow global and turn on follow COG. This basically means that any animation data is going to be relative to where the center of gravity is, rather than relative to where the global control is in this particular rig, which is really handy. So I'll turn off that, turn off follow global. And what I'm also going to do is check the gimbals on my COG control. So I'm just going to set this to ZXY, just so that it's going to give us some more range of motion for this particular animation. Even though it's not really going to be moving around that much, it's a nice little safety thing for me to do. Right, so all I've done, I'm going to actually hit save and save the Maya scene. And then, if you bear with me 2 moments. Okay. Just got it off screen in a minute. I'm going to call this stream. What we 10:07 stocked 01. Okay. I'm going to just increment and save. And what I'm going to do is going to go to Red 9 Animation Binder, and this is the tool used to create this thing. And I'm just going to select my global control and hit Bake Binder, and this is going to bake the animation onto my custom rig. So I'm just going to run through that. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so now this is all done, I can actually delete the extra stuff, and now our animation is baked onto the rig. So this is all here and all nice and dandy. I can close this now, and I'm just going to open up my graph editor on this screen. Cool, so you'll see on the first frame it's in a T-pose, so I'm going to select all my controls. Go to frame 0, delete the first frame, and that'll just get rid of the T-pose. Okay. Another thing to note as well, that I did accidentally bake this in 24 FPS, so I need to basically reapply that, because I like to work in 30. It's a bit easier on my poor brain. So a simple way to do it is select all the controls, set it to 30, and I need to do this anyway. I'm going to apply a filter. So I'm going to, in the graph editor, go to curves, smooth filter, Butterworth, And then I'm just going to leave all the settings at default. Oh, a minute. And I'm just going to hit apply and close. So this is going to set the sampling rate to 30 frames a second. So it's going to set a keyframe on every frame rather than on every 24 FPS frame. And the cutoff frequency, I'll show you what that does. I'm just going to apply it and I'll select a control and show you what it does. So if I grab this bit of this animation here for the wrist control and then navigate to about there. So if I grab this filter and turn the cutoff frequency down, you see how it's smoothing out the curves. So this is a bit of a balancing act. So the reason I do this is because sometimes data can be a bit noisy. You'll see that in quite a lot of content that hasn't had as much cleanup as it sometimes wants. It's really time consuming to do, so that really isn't a criticism. It takes ages. So yeah, it's fair enough in a lot of cases. But essentially, if you turn down the cutoff frequency, it essentially filters out more of the animation to the point where it's just almost doing nothing. So it's a bit of a balancing act where you want to look at like the peaks and the really noisy bits of data, and you want to just kind of cut off pretty much just that. Otherwise, you start to hurt the performance that's there and what makes it feel more natural. So by default, the cutoff frequency, the default one of 7, is generally okay. Anyway, this is what you get left with. So this is now on the animation rig. It's pretty cool. Move along. Obviously right now he's not really holding a weapon. And this is pretty good. I guess all we'd really want to change is probably the posing a bit is a bit off. And obviously we want to apply a weapon and stuff. So I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up my live link. So I'm actually going to live link into Unreal. And it's quite straightforward to do. So we're going to hit File, Unreal Live Link. And I'm going to grab the source skeleton for me rig. Add selection. And I'm going to call this, I think it's called body. I think I call the output name. I'll have to check this. And in Unreal, I'm going to bring in my character. So what I'm going to do is actually bring in a character. Just bring in a stormtrooper or something. Here we are. Nice. So what I'm going to do now is set us to use an animation blueprint, and I'm going to search for live because I've already set one up. This is the one here. Okay. And then we're going to browse for this, open this up. Right, so now we have opened up this bad boy. So what I need to check for is check that the live link subject name is consistent. What else do I need to do? There was one other thing I have to do. Let's see if I can figure it out. Live link. Is there a live link tool? Tools. What's that? Tools? No, it's under cinematics, isn't it? Virtual production. It's under. Sorry, my bad. Cool. It's going to open this. I'm going to add a source. It's going to come from my PC. Nice. So what I have to do now on this one is it's all connected and scrub the timeline. And now, hey, we got my live link. So we can actually see what's happening in real time. Although something really funky is going on with the body on this guy, which is not very pleasant. So I'm going to change it just for this demo. So what I might do is just change him to use this. See if this works. Got to compile some shaders, but that should be fine. Let's clear that. Just clear the helmet. Okay. And I'm just going to bring in some spotlights, just to really light them up. So right now it's just kind of compiling some shaders. You can kind of see it working away as I light them. Just going to kind of set it up there. It's working away. So I'm just going to leave it a moment just to finish compiling, setting up these shaders, so just bear with me a few moments. Gonna leave it a moment. And I've just realized I'm an idiot and I've left this all unlisted this entire time. Duh. I'm an idiot. There we are. So it's still just compiling these shaders. It should be done momentarily. Right, something's a little bit balked with this actually, so I'm just going to see if I can just quickly fix that. See if I can quickly just fix this up. Oh, 1 minute. I know what it is. Yeah, okay. Just disable these. No, it's still... Oh, numpty. Right. It's actually a... Oh, it's special... Why is that being funky? I don't know. See if I can change it back. Just, you know what? I'll just change it back. Why is that being weird now? What have I done? What have I done? No. So yeah. So just for info, it's a little bit borked right now. See if I can figure out why. Why are you no? Oh, hello there. So right now, just taking a look at why my character's a little bit on the broken side, because it most certainly should not be doing that. I think I borked it. Why did I bork it? How did I bork it? Nobody knows. 1 sec. I don't know. I think I broke it. Oh well. I'm just gonna tell you what I'll do. Switch it to lighting only. No one will know. I'll have to fix this another day. Don't really have time at the minute. Anyway, leave it on lighting only. So, oh, that's going to annoy me, that. Oh, it's really going to annoy me. Oh hey, so you come in, if you just come in now, you come in at just the right time to see that my stuff is broken, which is always great. Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. I hope you're okay too. I'm just gonna very quickly just see if I can unbreak this stuff here that I'm working on. Doing good, Rod, doing good. So I've been streaming this for about, I don't know, about what, 20 minutes? Yeah, about 20-25 minutes, and I realized I forgot to hit the public button, so it's going well. So essentially what you missed is I've taken this data I recorded of me just standing there with a gun, and I've cleaned it up in Rokoko, and I've put it onto my animation rig in Maya, which looks like this, and it's a really nice simple drag and drop operation. So I'm not actually making the character, it's imported. Oh, there we go, it's working now. I'm an idiot. So I'm not actually making the character, it's imported from Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah, what I am doing though is I'm kind of just taking some animation data I recorded, which is like kind of a stocked idle, and I'm just gonna apply that to it and clean it up and show some cool stuff. So yeah, it's just gonna just crack on. I know what's wrong with the character now. I actually broke it because I'm an idiot and I was working on some other stuff, and yeah, I broke it, which is really smart of me. So I'm just fixing the shaders, which is kind of just hog it up a little bit. There we go, look at that, perfect. Okay, almost done. Just gonna fix up the visor. Is it using a second UV? I don't even know. I think it is. Let's hit save. But yeah, in short, I'm an idiot, and no one outside of this ever has to know about that, so everything's fine. I'm not going to show you how to do it today, Janazia, just because it's quite a lot of work. But there are tutorials on how to do it, so if you look up tutorials like Frostbite Unreal Engine, you'll be able to find some. Towards the end of this, towards the end of this I can actually try and dig some up, but for right now I'm not really going to be doing that, unfortunately. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is what I've also just set up here is like a live link between Unreal and Maya. So I'm actually going to move this onto my other screen for now, and let's see if I can do something cool. So I'm going to do it live. I'm going to do something live here. I'm going to add a window and see if I can do this live. Yeah, I'm not going to say your name. Right, it should be back up now. That's totally my bad. I really ballsed that up, didn't I? Let's not do that again. Oh, that's the wrong one. I want to select this one. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I'm just basically setting up a nice little live link window so you guys can see how this looks in Unreal as I'm working on it, which is actually a really cool feature. So before we very rudely crashed out of there, I was setting this up. So I was setting up a nice little Maya live link in Unreal. So if I can just set it to game view, and we can kind of see how the character looks in real time. So if I scrub the timeline, or at least I should be able to scrub the timeline. Maybe I have to hit play and start simulating. Or could it be... Have I set this up correctly, or have I borked it? Yes, I think I've borked it. 1 second. See if we can do this now. CPU. Nope. I think it's edit preferences maybe. CPU project settings. CPU, yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. Why is it doing that? Set it to real time maybe? Why you do this? Right, let's just stop that. So basically what I'm trying to do is get live link working live, because it was working literally a second ago. Let's try this again. File, Unreal Engine. connected. Why you do this? I don't want to edit active camera. I want... Ah, I broke it. So for whatever reason, I'm not totally sure why. Oh, there we go. It's working now. I don't know what's going on. It just decided just to be a wetty. So there we go. It's being temperamental. Let's hit play on that. So now, and I borked it again. This is going great, guys. I've got a Discord. I don't have a Discord server. I kind of, what's the word? Invaded. Invaded would be a good word. Frostbite Cinematics one. I can put a link in the chat. Let's try this now. There we go. Okay. So, not stealth. Leave that open. And don't stop pressing escape, you numpty. Alright, there we go. Let's try this one more time. There we go. Can I hit play now? No. Oh, come on. Alright, so Unreal Live Link is being very temperamental and it's taking too long and it's annoying me now. So I'm just going to leave it and not really worry about it because it's really not worth the effort. So I'm going to just, this display, I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat, in the old chat. I do kind of share it with someone else. But yeah, we got a Discord there. Lot of cool folks. Let's see if I can do it. Edit invite link. That should. Oh no, that's a YouTube video. Let's see if I can send a Discord link. This is going great. I've got everything prepared. It's almost like I planned to do this. I didn't. I did not plan to do this whatsoever. There you go. So all being well. I think I sent the right one. Otherwise, I've sent access to my account. Either or, it's probably not great. Alright. So, cracking on. Like I said, I'm just going to ignore Unreal because it's being a pain in the bum. Right, so I need to give this guy a weapon. So I'm going to give this guy a weapon. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to import one I prepared earlier. Also nabbed from Battlefront 2, so I'm going to give him the old E11. Which looks like this. I can select the geo. I don't want to be able to do that. Ouch, Rod. Ouch. I've never used pre-made Battlefront stuff just because it's well, it doesn't really work for me. All my stuff is custom. So let's do constrain parent. But actually, what I'm going to do, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So what I need to do on my rigs, I've got these controls set up, which are essentially hand attached nodes. So what I can do is grab that, constrain parent. I don't have them to hand, but I do have them stored somewhere. Yeah. But I haven't really done anything with Clone Troopers yet, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I've just not really got around to it. Right, I'm going to delete the data on this because I don't want it. And right now, it's attached to the hand. Yeah, that's true. You got to start somewhere, I guess. I totally get that. So object there. There we are. No, that's exactly what I used to do though. I used to just use pre-made stuff quite a lot. It took a lot of self-convincing to get this to actually purchase this. The kit I've got. Right, so what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of roughly lining up the weapon with with the hand, very roughly, not too much. I guess I might. It depends on how I held it, really, because you see how it doesn't quite line up with the other hand. That's not really a problem, because the beauty of IK is that we can actually almost parent it. Yeah, in fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch this to FK mode, just so it's a bit easier to animate. And going to kind of... So the idea is that I want to get it close, but I want it to also kind of work on the hand. Oh, thanks, Janazia. Yeah, they were really fun to make. So I didn't actually animate those. My friend James did. We kind of worked on it together. It was yeah, it was tricky, but it was good fun. Right. I think what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to put these on a new animation layer. And I'm just going to see if I can just kind of fix it as like a little cheat like that. Okay, that'll work. And then, oh dear. Yeah, that works. So at a starting point, it'll kind of follow pretty closely. Cool. All right, the next thing I'm going to do, because I want the hand to be planted on the weapon for the majority of the time, I've got this little control here that is part of the gun. So what I can do is grab that and snap it into place. The voice actor was actually, I mean, there were no voices, there was one voice in it, so there was actually a voice actor. It would have been Hybrid who did the audio on it for the one bit of dialogue that we cut and changed it into kind of like a groan and stuff. So yeah, so we changed it into a bit of a groan just so nobody would actually know what he says. He does actually say something, but we decided not to actually tell anyone what he says, which worked out great because people kept asking about that, which is cool. Right, so that's why this will do. So right out the gate, this is actually looking actually really passable. I'm quite surprised. Normally I have to do some work with it. I think what I'm going to do, I've actually got this tool up here that'll just twist the arm for me, because you see how the shoulder's a bit bulked. So I'm going to add the shoulder to an animation layer. I'm just going to kind of bring that forward a bit. And then for this guy, I'm just going to kind of... I'm essentially kind of just maneuvering the shoulder into a pose that's as realistic as I can get it. Which Clone Wars do I like? I'm not really sure. I've seen like the animated series, but I didn't watch the original, like the initial movie they did. I thought it was alright. It took a bit to get going. Yeah, there were bits I found, to be honest, I found really boring. But at the end of the day, it's a kids program, so you know, take with that as you will. It's a kids thing. Not to say I didn't enjoy watching it. I'm kind of partially watching Rebels at the moment. I'm quite enjoying that. It's alright. Season 7 was awesome. And I quite enjoyed the Bad Batch. Yeah, I think they're all alright. The only thing I don't like was Rise of Skywalker. That was crap. I think everyone can agree on that, but you know, I just like to switch off and just enjoy it for what it is. You know, at the end of the day, they're kids' films, in my opinion. But they're good fun. You know, it's just fun. Right. So there was a bit in here where I do actually take my hand off of it, and I can't remember where that was, so I need to check. So hand is on it, hand is on it, hand is on it, hand is on it. There we go, so about there, so about 50 seconds in, which is whatever 50 times 30 is. 50 times 30, 1,500 frames. 1,500 frames in, we take the hand off, so I need to go to about... Was it there? Oh, I would have seen it all on Disney Plus because I watched it all fairly recently. About there. Yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, that's all I can really say about that, to be honest. Let's grab this guy. Turn the parent constraint off. I might have borked it. Yep, I set a keyframe and I broke it. There we go. I mean, I probably don't have to do this. I can probably just delete the keys, but nah, I want to keep the data if I can. Do something like that. I borked it because I'm an idiot. There we go, I'll do. Move along. So, and then from about here, I'm going to insert another key. And just as it kind of brings the hand in to plant it again, I'm going to ramp up the parent constraint. And that'll just bring the hand back into position. Cool. And as we're about to take it away, turn the parent constraint off. I can do things to kind of like blend it and, you know, just to make it a bit cleaner, but this is meant to be like a background action kind of thing, so I'm not really worried about spending too much time on it, to be honest. I'm quite pleased with how it's turning out already. Okay, just gonna copy those keys. So as we kind of start to bring the hand in, that's when I want it to attach to the weapon again. What does he do after it brings it back on the data? Okay, so it kind of spins it around a little bit. So let's do this. Yeah, it's looking alright. Just 1 second, please. Right, cool. Move along. So you kind of see that, like, from the work I forgot to press play on, which is all this stuff. So essentially I spent a lot of time in here just really cleaning this up. And you can kind of see from spending the time in here, I don't actually have to do that much to get a really decent looking result. At least for something like an idol like this, it's quite easy. There are a few things that I can do, like cleaning up the wrists and stuff, but I'm really not that bothered. For the sake of a stream, I'm trying to do this pretty quick as well. So I'm not that fussed about that right now. So what I'll do here is this parent constraint is I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste, and as we kind of bring the hand back up, which is about there, it's going to go haywire, for some reason. So what I'll do, and this is cool, this is why I have this control. I can do that. Oh, sugar. Gotta be careful because I broke it. Okay, there we go. So here, I'm gonna move the control here. Boom. And rather than ramping up this constraint, I can actually snap it on, because you can see here like the wrist was kind of turning upside down and going crazy. I can actually move this control into place, which is attached to the gun, and just kind of do this. It's really cool. Press play. Yeah, it's a bit unnatural. I think what I'll end up doing is I'll probably bake it down or something. Or what I can do. Let's kind of do that. Basically what I'm trying to do is just keep the motion pretty consistent. And it goes crazy and spins. Spinny spinner. I think it's about there it's doing that. No. What that'll be... Oh, there we go. It's because I'm turning the constraint off. And we're kind of going into weird angle territory. So that's why it's spinning like that. Which is annoying, but it's not really a problem. So let's take a look at our animation right now. Super simple. Doing a little fidget. Nice. You might have just heard my dog in the background. And again. Cool. So, looking at the rest of the body, you might remember that earlier when I bound it so that the wrist controls will follow the CLG, which is this thing. Essentially in the rig I've got these options here that will follow different parts of the rig, so it can follow the global control, it can follow the CLG and follow the chest. It can follow his eyeballs if I wanted it to. But what that allows me to do with IK controls especially is do this, which normally you can't do. So normally IK controls will be in world space. If I move the character, then my hand's going to stay in the same place, which is great for things like grabbing and pulling up ledges and things like that, which is what IK it really has its strengths in. But that's also why I have the option to turn it off and on when I want to. It's a bit of work to do to line up the data, but it's not too bad. Anyway, we've kind of done the upper body, so I'm going to take a look at the lower body now. Do a quick pass on that, and this is like what you'd call like a rough cleanup pass. It's not going to be like full quality ready, apart from like it's a background thing. But it's just kind of give you an idea on like how powerful these tools really are. Because while you can do a lot of this in Unreal, it's way easier to do in Maya at the moment. Okay, so what I'm going to take a look at now is I'm going to go through and start taking a look at the lower body and basically seeing where the knees pop, because knee popping is a thing. There was one bit where it popped, I remember that, I think it's here. Yeah, right there. So what I need to do is I'm going to actually just add this. I'm going to basically do it the easy way. I'm going to add this to the CLG to this animation layer. Do that. And right where it pops, I'm just going to bring it down ever so slightly. Oh, even that's too much. That'll do. gonna bring it down and back. And here I'm just going to set the key to be 0. I think that's the 0 key button. I should probably check that. Is that the 0 key button? 0 key button. There we are. So looking at it from the side, we are kind of leaning forward a little bit, which is a bit awful keen on. So what I might do is actually I'm going to set the movement to parent, and then in this layer here I'm actually just going to drag it back slightly. So the reason I set this to parent is so that I can see here that the z-axis corresponds to forward and back, y is up and down, etc. So I can literally just do this. Just globally move the CLG back throughout the entire thing. And this is like kind of like the power of like animation layers, because you can layer animation on top of each other. You can even use it in keyframe animation for like heights of jumps and things. It's really cool. But where it really shines is when you're cleaning up mocap, because unless I'm doing something very specific, which for my current project I am, this is like kind of like a background idle where I'm not that bothered about the minutiae. I'm not that bothered about it. But if you're going in and cleaning up animation, like, you know, that's a lot of keys. You can do a process known as keyframe reduction, where you basically go in and be like, you can use tools, you can do it manually, where you're like, oh, okay, I don't need those keys, I don't need those keys, or those keys, or those keys. As long as the curve stays the same, it's fine, but it's quite time consuming, and for cinematic animation, I just do that shot by shot. It's just way simpler. Okay. So there's a couple of little things, like the feet are sliding around a tiny bit and stuff, but you know what? It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Cool. So I'm pretty happy with this for now. You know, there's a few things I can do better, like the wrist is a bit borked, but I'm really not that fussed about it. And that's quite a simple fix. I can kind of just go in here and maybe not there, but if I grab like this or something, I can sort of it's a bit of an awkward weapon to handle, to be honest. Realistically, I probably have the hand like closer to the trigger anyway, like that. It's like a more natural place to hold it. Do something like that maybe, and then adjust the thumb, which I can totally do, you know. But it's going to mess things up a bit, and to be honest, I don't really have time to do that right now. Yeah, but this looks okay. I'm quite pleased with this. So, anyway, what I'm going to do now is show you how I get it into Unreal. Oh, hi, Ren. Yeah, part of what I do is I do some kind of light tech animation, which is like rigging and stuff as well. So yeah, a good rig will get you places. Just for interest as well, I also have this really cool setup, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to clean up some other data in Rokoko first and get it on here. But Ren, if you scroll right back to the beginning, essentially my process. Screw it, I'm going to load up a new version of Maya and show you this. It's really cool. But while I do that, I am actually going to go to Game Exporter, Animation Clips, Export Object Set. I'm going to select my skeleton, and I'm going to change this to, let's call it Stream 1007. Actually, we'll call it Stormtrooper Stocked Idle 01. All 1692 frames. Just gonna preface this by saying I'm not an animator. It's not what I do for a job. I do this just to kind of mess about. So it's kind of fun. So I'm just setting a folder off screen, which is here, and I'm just gonna hit export. And while it exports, in my other version of Maya, I'm going to show you this. So I'm going to bring in my animation binder file like I did before, just to kind of show off how I got. Oh, nice. That's cool, man. It's a great bit of kit. Like, the data you get is so good. But yeah, here's an example of how I get the data onto my rig really quickly. It's very, very similar to some people that will know. Animation editors, quickly use Human IK. And all I have to do here is set the source to Rokoko. And boom, data on a custom rig. A nice simple drag and drop, which I'm gonna do again in a bit, but it's as simple as that, and then a bake. And it'll apply animation to like custom controllers and all sorts of cool shit. Anyway, that's that bit done. So in Unreal at the minute, in my other screen, I'm just applying my skeleton. Yeah, man. So it's very similar to like another system that I know you'll be familiar with. I'm not going to say any more than that. But the one that I'm mentioning is like an automated, more advanced version of this. And much more recent, but this was like kind of the initial version of it, and the guy that made it actually has a masterclass on how to use it and set it up and stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, in here I'm going to set up a new sequence. You can kind of see some of the other stuff I've been setting up, but don't let that fool you. So I'm going to call this stream 10:07:01. And I'm going to add our dude to it. And I'm going to try and do this on this screen. I don't normally do it all on one screen, but today I'm going to make an exception. And I'm going to add our mesh animation stormtrooper stock title. So this should be our animation now. But first, what I got to do is change our animation blueprint back, because I changed it trying to be clever and it ended up crashing OBS and destroying the stream because I'm an idiot. And I'm still an idiot because he's on his back in the floor. So what I gotta do is go in here, do a little bit of Axis Voodoo, re-import. Yeah, so all the assets here are from Battlefront 2, like every single one. I might have grabbed some assets from Bridge, Quixel, for like textures and stuff, just to add some extra details. But yeah, this is like straight from Battlefront. This asset here. All right, I'm gonna just hit save alt. So yeah, here's our dude. Obviously, as you can see, he is missing a weapon, and the shoulder's looking a bit high. That's just because I didn't really get live link set up properly because it crashed things and it was annoying me. And I can't use a Stormtrooper right now because it messes up the geometry and it's really irritating me. I'll try again. De-assault original. Let's try that. Okay. And what I can do here, I'm determined now. I'm gonna try and just set this up so it actually does what it should be doing. Let's try this now. Is it working? Is it doing what it should be doing? I think it should be doing stuff. Okay. It serves me right for trying to be clever. Yeah, okay, it's working now. I don't know why it's doing that, but okay. There we go, we have a Stormtrooper. Sick. Alright, it's actually doing what it should be doing, so I'm gonna apply that. So, oh really? Man, let me load that back up. Yeah, dude, like the Battlefront assets are awesome. So yeah, for anyone that might have noticed, Unreal just crashed, so I'm reloading it. Engine crashes, I love them. So that's one thing I've noticed with Unreal 5 is it will crash if you try and do too much at once, which is kind of annoying. But oh well. Right. Anyway, this bad boy is looking good, doing what it should be doing. So yeah, the right shoulder is too high. Ah well, I'm not bothered for now. Anyway, so you can see here that he's missing a gun. He hasn't got one on him. So one of the things I did in Maya is set up this kind of attachment joint. So it's used for like lining up props and stuff. So under the hood, what this is doing is driving a joint. So if I show skeleton, and this is the skeleton that gets exported out here. Yeah, dude, you gotta like be well careful with Unreal. Or Unreal 5 anyway. Like when I crank the settings too high, it's just like, no. Anyway, so this little control here is driving this little joint. And this is what I use to line props up. So if I go back to Unreal, in my blueprint, what I've got is I've got these weapon right and weapon left, which are just blueprints that attach to these joints. So what I can do now is select E11 and let's do this. I now have an E11 that's following his hand and doing what it should be doing. It's all used in the Battlefront 2 skeleton, everything. It's pretty cool. So much funky's going on there. It's hovering a bit. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Save that. I also have something really cool I can show you. Although this is going to look a bit janky. I've also got this set up with metahumans, but it's still using the Battlefront 2 skeleton. So let's do this one. Let's see if I can do this. So if I go into Maya and just with how my rigs are set up, okay, I'm just going to do show. I'm going to just turn off showing the skeleton, and I'm really chancing it doing it live like this, but I'm going to give it a go. Just saving because it will probably crash it, and I'm gonna just close my like that. Close this other version. I'm kind of going to kind of show off mode, but there's a lot of cool stuff in here. So if I go reference and then replace reference, and I'm just gonna try and find a rig. More importantly, a rig that's gonna work. I'll try this. Oh, hey, Sketch. Yeah, man, but if you turn it around on your head, like when you guys live stream, it's like whatever time it is when you live stream. I don't know the time difference, but I'm guessing it's not fun. Yeah, it's like 7 in the morning, or something grim. Okay, so right now what I'm doing in the background is I'm basically changing what rig I'm loading in, because this is a special one that I've got which has the metahuman head on it. Because then what I can do in Unreal is it's kind of bald at the minute just because it's kind of borked. I've not used this in a while, so I am taking a chance using this. just for the sake of banter. So I can do the same thing again. Stormtrooper stocked. I do need to fix this, so the skinning is a bit broken. That's because I need to fix it, so don't worry too much about that. Actually, I'll see if I can fix it now. So that's animation mode to normal. And okay, then torso, let's clear that. Cool, mesh. And it's preparing shaders. I thought it was going to crash, but it's not. Let's do this one. Yeah, so I'm also just fixing a bunch of stuff because yeah, alright, you win. That's fair enough, Sketch, you win. I am sorry. Okay. So what I've got here is a custom version. It's the same rig referenced in, but it's referenced into another rig. And what I can do is apply face. Ignore the clipping. Like I said, I've not used this in a while. I need to update it. And I'm not going to do any face animation today. But this is basically what I did before. So I can actually apply face animation later on. So I can actually apply face on this and then export using MetaHuman into Unreal, which is some really cool shit. But I'm not going to do that now because it's going to take me ages. But yeah, so so that's one thing down. So I'm actually going to start again and do another thing from scratch. No, it was just kind of broken. I don't have a separated undersuit on this. I've not really set one up. Although there might be underneath, I'm not sure. I've not really delved with it too much. Right. So while I load up the other thing in the background, I'm actually going to have some fun with this. I'm just going to set up a quick cinematic shot. I'm kind of just going off the rails with this, to be honest, because I've just kind of done what I needed to do. So I think what I'll do is so a cool thing to do with these is actually change the film back settings to be bigger than what they are. So I like to set mine to something like this, 21:9. Just get the cinematic aspect ratio, and then you're good. And then what I'm going to do is change the focal length, set it to like 80 odd, and then bring the focal plane back to like there. Maybe like there or something. I'm just setting up a cool little shot now. Move along. Move along. Just put it about there or something. Actually, no. I'll bring it closer and I'll widen the lens a bit. At this point, I'm just kind of having just a bit of fun with it. Set it there or something. Yeah, that'll work. Alright. It's just nice, simple. It's slow, but it shows the entire animation off. Yeah, something like that. And we'll just bring the pitch up slightly. And here we'll bring the pitch down slightly. So you can see we're getting a bit of a bounce here. It's just acting a bit weird. Ah, fair. General Kenobi. Just give it a bit of space there. Yeah, so this is jumping around a little bit, and I'm not totally sure why. Weapon right. Ah, it's probably borked. Everything's borked. Okay. So a cool thing I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to change some of the rendering settings on this bad boy. Exposure compensation, and we'll set a keyframe on that. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cinematic control on that, turn off cinematic control on this one, and I'm basically going to use the right hand side viewport to light it. The lighting's already okay on him, but it's not brilliant, so let's have some fun. Let's make the background really cold. Super bright. Something like that. Oh god, there's quite a few that I think are really cool. Like back when we did the cinematic captures competition last year, like any of those, I mean, so many of them were so good. But I don't really watch too many of them, to be honest with you. There we go. So why that? There we are. I'll have to figure out why this is bouncing another day, but it's kind of annoying me. Yeah, okay, it's looking cool. So yeah, I'm just kind of going off the rails a little bit, just kind of having some fun, doing a bit of lighting. What it's gonna do? Let's turn the vignette on. And I'm not going to bother with lens flares, might do some bloom. Something like that. Let's check out some rendering stuff as well. Yeah man, it was like almost a year ago, and I've done nothing since then. Almost a year. Yeah man, it's just crazy. Time flies. Motion blur I'm going to turn on. Target FPS 24. So I am going to render this later. I'm not going to render it now. Just for the sake of time. But if I turn the cinematic quality, scalability up to cinematic, and then gonna just bring that back. Set key. Bring that forward. Set key. And then in the middle, set a key. This is kind of what you're left with. So I have obviously set up the shaders and stuff. I spent a lot of time doing that, but the lighting on this is a really simple 3-point lighting setup, and especially with like lumen and stuff, it just makes it look so. It makes it look really good, really quickly. So I'll give this a render after the stream's done, for it on Twitter and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's quite straightforward. We can do other things as well, like changing the color grading and white balance and lens and stuff, because I totally know what I'm doing with that. I don't have a clue. But one thing I do like to do is I do like to bring the global saturation down, because it kind of makes it feel a bit more grounded, a bit more realistic, which is quite nice. I don't bring it down too much, just slightly. Well, I can bring it right down there if I want to. Why is this? That's just, if I set it to 0, it should be 0. Oh, it is. It's just that it's desaturated anyway. I don't really notice. Another thing I like to do as well is some grain, some like noise on the lens and stuff, but I can't. I'll probably just do that in post, because I can't seem to find it here. But yeah, so that's a really quick cinematic shot using the animation that I've just cleaned up over the past time and a bit, and the time that I forgot to hit go on the old streamer. Right, so I'm gonna come out of Unreal, gonna go back to Maya, gonna come out of Maya, go all the way back to Rokoko. I'm gonna start it from scratch because you guys totally missed all this. So I have another one here that I actually need for a project I'm working on. So this is the data here, the raw data. I've not done anything with it other than turn feet on. So it's just some cool movements, and then I totally go off screen and you never see me again, because I'm not setting up cameras all over my house. So it's just some cool action movement for some background characters. I think what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do the entire thing, but I will do the first little... I will do this little chunk here for now. Although I probably should do it all because it does affect how the drift filter works. So yeah, screw it. Let's just dive right in. So key thing is I'm just going to check the feet movement throughout the entire thing. So you can see here that already left foot sliding. So let's get this bad boy fixed. So let's bring back to about here. So the placement doesn't have to be bang on, as long as you kind of lift it when you're no longer putting weight on that particular foot. Like, let's say I'm turning the right foot off here, so as long as all my weight is on the left foot, I can turn it off and it'll be alright. Likewise here, all my weight's on the right foot, so I need to make sure that's turned on back there. So I'm just kind of going through and just checking it. So my right foot is definitely down here. So, by the way, the video reference is actually a little bit out of sync with the data, which is kind of annoying, but oh well. Okay, sit process. And let's see what we're left with. So I'm not going to be doing too much cleanup on this. I'm just going to kind of just be cleaning up the rough motions. I'm not going to be doing too much. Right, I'm picking up the rifle, going back. Yeah, that's better. This comes on too late, so let's just turn that on. And I'm probably just going to turn this off when this comes on, like that or something. Cool. Let's keep going. So the thing is, what I try to do with these little shoots is I'll try and keep the shorter takes, but sometimes like this one I get a bit carried away, which is kind of annoying, but my fault. And the reason I like to stick to shorter takes is because I want to make sure I do a proper pass on all the foot placement, even the ones I'm not going to be using, because it does help with figuring out where stuff should be for like drift fixing and things like that as well. It takes ages, but it's definitely worth doing. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the left foot off when the right foot goes down, just to kind of, when we come to apply foot IK, it will kind of release it from that. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is do that or something. So the right foot is going to be down till about there. Where's my music gone? I'm running low on RAM. Are you serious? I'm running low on the old RAM stairs. No, I'm not. Why does it think I'm running low on RAM? That's very silly of it. Bear with me 2 moments. Windows Media Player is being a wetty, as they say. There we go. And yes, I am using Windows Media Player to play some music because it's not Spotify. Perfect. Okay. So oh, thanks, man. If there's any bit that's particularly useful, let me know and I'll clip it. It's unbelievably warm in here because I turned my fan off and I shut the door. Oh well. Everything will be fine. Okay, so on this one, I'm kind of putting all my a good chunk of my weight on. I want to say I'm putting it on the back, but it's not doing too much, so it's fine. Plus, it's outside of a segment, so I'm not bothered about the details in this. All right. When I put my foot down here, I'm also looking at the video reference up here as well. I have reduced the opacity just so I can see through it a bit easier. So I know that when I come in here, both my feet are planted for quite a while and I only move the left foot. So let's fix that up. My left foot stays down for a while there. Okay. Another thing I tried to do when shooting this as well is I did try not to jump around too much and try and keep one foot down all the time. As much as I could. It's not always possible, but another thing I did as well that I mentioned at the start before I hit the public button, because I totally forgot, is on the floor I've got a marker so I know where to stand at the start and end of each take, so it always lines up. It's really helpful. Right. So we hit the ground there. Okay. This is largely looking okay. That's out of sync. Another thing as well you'll notice with some of these walks is the feet placement compared to the hips is really wonky, so we're really going to be using that hands follow CLG control for this. Really making use of it, because right now it kind of looks like I pooped myself, which I didn't, just to be clear. I did not poop myself when I was shooting this. Fix that there. Okay. You can kind of tell towards the end of this I was getting a bit tired. I'm not exactly an athlete. Okay, I think that we'll kind of do for the foot placement stuff. I think it looks okay. It's not great, but it'll do for now. So, like I said, I mentioned earlier that I put a marker on the floor is so that I know that if I drift like I did here, if you look at the video reference, I'm in exactly the same place both times, or close enough. So the next thing I'm going to hit is drift fix. Right, just so you guys know, I am going to have to call it in about 15 minutes because I have to go cook dinner and stuff. 15-20 minutes maybe. So if there's anything specifically you have any questions on, please let me know and I'll do that. Otherwise I'll do another one of these probably through the week if I can. Now I was going down a straight hallway, so something has gone wrong here. So the drift fix can't account for that. Maybe that's something that would be cool in the future, being able to put down spline points so you can kind of move it manually. That would be cool. But there's a hallway, so I can't actually curve like this. Anyway, that will kind of help with that stuff. Might help with some of the hip movement. Like this looks okay. Although you can kind of see my foot kind of glides to the left there, or to my left, which it shouldn't do. So it kind of takes a while to do. Yeah, fair dues, dude. I accidentally turned off drift fix. I shouldn't have done that. minutes. So like stuff like this is like, that's why you do cleanup in Maya, because it's really easy to fix this in Maya. It's easy-ish in Unreal as well, with control rig and stuff, but as far as I know. But Maya is also quite straightforward. It's got a lot of tools and plugins and stuff. Right, so next thing I'm going to turn on is foot IK. So by default, foot IK will snap, right? It will proper snap when you turn the feet on. 1 second, I'm going to turn it down a tad so I can hear myself. So yeah, so when these foot keys enable, sometimes the feet will snap. And it's not particularly pleasant. And kind of just gives you like some really weird motion. But what you can do, if you select the settings down here, where it says blend transition all, turn that off. And this smooth is a number of frames in which the IK will blend on, like what I did earlier with the hand and the rifle, same thing. So if I turn that on, it's going to give a really nice smooth transition into the feet being planted on the ground. So if I move forward now, it's looking really nice. Now again, the position's off, but the actual data is okay. So it's pretty easy for me to kind of fix. Essentially what I'll do is take an animation layer and just manually reposition the feet. Or I can reposition the hips, because generally the feet are where they should be, they're just offset from the hips. So yeah, this is looking alright. Last thing I'm going to do is just turn on knee pop smoothing. There's a little bit of it going on, I can see. But this will really help. But a lot of it I'm kind of crouched down, so I'm hoping it won't make much of a difference. Whoa, something happened there, that was wonky. See that? Let's just see if we can fix this. See what's going on. Alright. I think what I'm going to do, as soon as this touches down, I'm going to just turn off this. I'm going to have a little bit of a gap, and hopefully that'll fix that weird jump that's there. Like when you're doing a little bit of a jump, and like when you're running, you're kind of jumping forward. Yeah, that helps. Look at that. The foot kind of comes up a little bit and it looks a bit weird, but you can kind of fix that pretty easily. So that's kind of how you deal with those little jolts like that. It's just putting a little bit of a gap, and it'll probably be alright. So we'll just play through the entire thing. So right now I'm only really interested in the hips down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this. I'm just going to call it stream just for now. And just really quickly just show you how I might clean up some of this other stuff. Really quick. So I'm going to just export this out. While it does that, in Maya, I'm going to bring in my binder rig. Okay, like this. I'm going to get rid of the Mixamo one because I don't need it. Human IK settings. Change the source to Rokoko. Yeah, that's the music I'm playing. Right, it's this one here. So I'm just going to check it's finished in here, which it is. Cool. So if I bring in this, update animation. Okay. So we kind of got this set up. What I am going to check as well is just make sure that I'm not gimbal locking. That will be really bad, which I am. So what I'm going to do is with this selected, because we're not actually applying any animation data on this yet, it's just receiving it. So what I can do is actually change the rotate order on this controller, and that will help fix this. So if I set this to ZXY, now we're not gimbal locking, because if I leave it like this, you see there's two rotation gimbals here. If I want to rotate forward, I'll have to rotate both of them, and that's really bad. So I'll set change this to ZXY, and that's a lot better. And what I would like as well is I would like the translate to be as linear as I can make it, like as much forward and back. So right now you see it's kind of at an angle, which I don't really want. You see it's coming in like that. What I can do is I can select my source data group before I bake it and rotate it round. So I can essentially line up this with the axis, and that's going to give me some nice, lovely, clean curves. Oh, 1 minute. No, it's not, because I was looking at the wrong one like an absolute tool. Alright, this is going to give me some nice, lovely, clean curves. I can also, when we're kind of halfway through the motion, is I can actually shift it so we're actually above the COG control then. You don't really have to do this, it just kind of keeps things a bit neat. Okay, so something like that. So right now, you can see we just kind of moved it. This is like an animation path preview thing. What is it called? I can't actually read it. Animation trail, motion trail, that's the one. So we're now just kind of, not globally, but kind of primarily going in one direction. Anyway, now we're done with that. Very quickly, because I am going to have to go shortly unfortunately, is I'm going to open the animation binder tool. I'm actually going to save this as well because I'm going to want it for something else. I'll call it stream actions. I'll call it stock tool too, why not? Let's delete the motion trail because I don't need it. Open that, open that. And with this selected, I'm just going to bake the animation, but first I'm going to make sure that I set this to follow the COG and not to follow global, just because it's going to make moving stuff around way easier. Follow COG, follow global off, save. Let's bake the binder. So I am kind of rushing through this a little bit, but should be fine. Right. Delete the first frame. So, and then what I can do is actually just get rid of the source data because I don't need it anymore. And if I wanted to like put this data on something else, I'd use this thing, the time editor. It's really cool. Basically, it's like Story Tool in Motion Builder, except in Maya. So I don't have to use Motion Builder, which is nice. So this is how it looks on the rig natively. I've also solved it at the wrong frame rate again, because I'm an idiot. But you can kind of see here that, you know, it already looks pretty good. There's not a huge amount we need to do with that, like the other data and stuff. You can see as well the human IK system for floor contacts kind of kicked in because I used it to bind the rig. So we're properly like colliding with the floor and giving us some nice toe movement and stuff, which is nice. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 2 pane stacked panels, graph editor, cool. So basically, like the main thing I do just to clean up any Rokoko jitter type stuff is I will just apply a Butterworth filter at the default settings, apply and close, and it's just going to really just clean up some of those little peaks. And then, yeah, to line it up, I'll just kind of use the attachment joint stuff and just do some cool things. And maybe some animation on the hips and stuff, which is quite cool. But yeah, that's it. And then it's the same process I just kind of showed, so kind of attaching stuff to the attachment joints, playing with some animation layers, doing some nice poses. When I bind the animation, it also binds it onto the FK rig, so I can totally just use either, even though they're a bit offset because I broke them. I need to fix that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, and then it's the same, like I said, it's the same before. So with that, I'm gonna call it, because I do need to cook my dinner and it's really warm in here, like 1,000,000 degrees. So yeah, thanks a lot for joining. If you'd like to see one of these again, by all means let me know. And what's that? Oh yeah, so that's a really cool idea, Kenobi. So the way I do it is I try and export it out and do it in Maya, but you could also do it in using Live Link when it works, which I tried to set up, but it crashed OBS, so I had to restart the stream, which was annoying, and it's being temperamental. But yeah, you could totally do it. There's other things you can do, like setting up blueprints that will have the feet collide with the ground and things like that, but that's way beyond what I actually know how to do. But typically doing it, you'd export the geometry out, which is it's a bit more of a go around kind of thing, but it's quite simple to do once you've done it a couple of times. But yeah, I'm gonna have the same issue because I've got to work with terrain soon as well. But yeah, anyway, so that's it. So if there's anything you want to see more of, let me know. And yeah, thanks a lot, guys. So see you later.